Tonight, a YCN News Special on the 5-year development plan for Mount Sunapee Resort and their proposed expansion into the West Bowl.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Hospitality and tourism industries in New Hampshire are an economic engine. So is the natural beauty that is New Hampshire. Growing the state's economy while preserving its natural resources are important to all residents and businesses, which is why a proposed ski trail expansion at Mount Sunapee has its proponents and opponents. In this special broadcast, YCN News examines issues associated with this plan, known as the West Bowl expansion. It is Mount Sunapee's current leaseholders, Tim and Diane Muller, who seek this 656-acre expansion in Goshen, New Hampshire. The Mullers' lease is for 40 years.
Land was cheap then, and from my grandfather's case, he acquired a lot of land simply because people didn't want the land anymore.
Many in this room understand the long history the Forest Society has had with the conservation of Mount Sunapee, the establishment of the park, and the development of the state park system.
In the middle part of the century, we allowed a ski area to be put on the mountain and added land to the park, in part for skiing, but also for the long-term needs of the public.
With the Mullers overseeing the growth of Mount Sunapee as a 4-season resort area, it flourished. Local residents who work in the ski industry attest to that. Indeed, at an August 26th hearing where the state economic leaders listened to why the West Bowl expansion should be approved, many of the night's speakers work at the resort.
The state's equipment, no offense gentlemen, was run into the ground. Their lifts, their equipment, everything. I had a chance to do 65 miles an hour off of Hanson Chase ledges because of the thrust bearing.
In 1996, the New Hampshire legislature passed a law directing the Department of Resources and Economic Development to prepare a request for proposals for the leasing of Mount Sunapee and Cannon Mountain ski areas. And an RFP was developed in the fall of 1997. In January of 1998, the request for proposals was released to the public. And Okemo submitted a proposal for the operation of Mount Sunapee and was chosen as the finalist and was awarded the lease of Mount Sunapee effective on July 1, 1998.
And I'm tickled pink because with these people taking over, we immediately got machines that could climb, machines that could hold on the mountain, do everything we're looking for to make a nice, safe resort.
You know, we've tried to keep Mount Sunapee in balance with the facilities, whether it be maintenance facilities, public facilities, snowmaking, lifts, trails. We've added a few new ski trails. We've added snowmaking to some trails that did not have snowmaking. So a lot of work's happened since 1998. Our capital investment since 1998 with this summer is going to be over approaching $18 million.
A master development plan foreshadows what a business or municipal entity will become. How this plan will affect natural resources also must be explained. Mount Sunapee Resort is set up as a real estate investment trust.
Our clients are the type of folks that can live and work almost anywhere. And when I take them on as clients, I always ask them, why did you pick this area? The overwhelming reaction is because of Mount Sunapee. The skiing experience here is fantastic, and there are great opportunities for their children and grandchildren in the ski programs.
Our lease agreement with the state of New Hampshire requires that every 5 years we do a master development plan or update the previous plan. On June 1st of this year, we submitted our 4th 5-year master development plan since we've been here. And for the last 3 master development plans, we proposed expanding Mount Sunapee on the western flank, an area we call the West Bowl.
4 top-to-bottom ski trails plus some interconnector trails comprising around 75, 80 acres maybe. A new base lodge at the base of the West Bowl, a a new parking lot, and the necessary infrastructure to support it. So to put it in context, these are existing ski trails at Mount Sunapee, and this would be the West Bowl trails laid in. So thank you very much for your time tonight. I'll take questions for 10 minutes.
When this YCN News Special returns, we will hear how the business owned by Tim and Diane Muller is structured and their relationship with CNL, a real estate investment trust. Please stay with us. Welcome back to this YCN News Special looking at the 5-year master development plan of Mount Sunapee Resort Ski Area and Adventure Park and its proposed expansion into the West Bowl.
I've just got a couple of questions about the map. I'm looking at the key. What does the big yellow area represent? Does it represent proposed glades, or does it represent potential real estate? Or, and I noticed in the presentation, you didn't mention the 175 to 250 units of real estate. Could you just kind of explain that to me?
In our master plan in 2004, we were asked by the state of New Hampshire to list any and all possible uses of the land in the West Bowl, and one of those potential uses could be real estate development. So we were transparent in 2004 that that is a potential. But in the plan, we also stated that there were no detailed plans for real estate development at that time. That remains true today, 10 years later. We still have done no detailed plans for any real estate development, but it was to show that that is a potential use for the land that remains just that, a potential.
I was looking at the plan that you nicely filed with the town, and I'm looking at the boundaries for the leasehold that are in Exhibit 1.2 in what the town hall has, and the boundaries for the leasehold on this drawing seem to be different. Does this drawing have the 175 acres that you want to add to the leasehold included in the boundary? Is that why this one looks bigger than this one?
The New Hampshire Superior Court rendered their decision in July that those were the intended boundaries of Mount Sunapee's ski lease area, and so the contract will be reformed to depict those boundaries as shown on the map.
Do you foresee any problems with the snowmaking in the West Bowl? Will you require more snow there, and the water will come up from Lake Sunapee, but will it also drain back to Lake Sunapee, or will it go toward the other watershed?
It stays in the same watershed, which is the Sugar River watershed. It all merges in Newport, whether it comes from the Goshen side to Newport at the Sugar River branch or from the Sunapee side, but the water stays in the same watershed, and we have ample snowmaking capacity to be able to make snow in the West Bowl.
When this YCN News Special returns, we will hear some of the formal public comments made at the hearing that helped define the issues involved. Welcome back to this YCN News Special looking at the 5-year master development plan of Mount Sunapee Resort Ski Area and Adventure Park and its proposed expansion into the West Bowl. Let's now hear some of the formal public comments made at the hearing.
But I think it would be also very important for them to know a little bit more about the details of the lease ownership and so forth and how that's been transferred.
Tom Lithgow of CNL is in the room, and CNL is a real estate investment trust as defined by the SEC regulations, and they have 18 or 19 ski areas nationwide that they own the underlying assets, like the snow guns. We operate the business, and they stay at arm's length to the operator. So Tim and Diane are the owners of the business that operates Mount Sunapee.
And with regard to the other, are there any other real estate holdings in that area? Or
No,
is it all?
they're not owners of any other properties.
Okay, thank you.
Are the Mullers private investors in the Goshen property?
They are the only owners in the Goshen property.
Thank you.
How many acres of forest would have to be cleared to create the services and trails of the West Bowl? I'm assuming that most of it is completely forested at this time.
We said there would be 75 to maybe 80 acres of ski trails. 50% of that or more would be on lands that have already been logged. They were owned by companies that were doing logging. So there were a total of 656 acres, and out of that, I'm going to guess 125 of that might be cleared for ski trails, parking lot, base area.
Theoretically, at the end of the lease, what's going to happen when you have public land and private land as part of the ski trail system?
Whether it be in the state of New Hampshire or across the ski industry in America, it's very common that there's private land and public land that make up the total operating lands of the business. And it's been successfully transferred many times. A lot of ski areas could be on United States Forest Service land or Vermont State Forest Service land with a combination of land ownerships. So there's a lot of precedents before us of how those transfers happen seamlessly.
Jay, thank you for that presentation and the outline of the MDP.
Comments made during the meeting's public hearing included the physical boundaries of the West Bowl expansion. This includes how many acres could be developed on the mountain's west side. The west side is in Goshen, in Sullivan County. This issue is at the core of the earlier lawsuit by the Mullers as operators of the resort against the state. People opposed to the expansion say it's because land will be developed for real estate, forever altering the look and character of the land and region. After several years, in July, the court sided with the resort regarding the boundaries.
And now we'd like to start the formal public comment portion of this hearing.
I had the pleasure of meeting Tim and Diane for the first time in 1997 when, as a representative of the college to the Lake Sunapee Chamber of Commerce, they came and presented their development plan for Mount Sunapee. One thing I noted, though I went to every meeting that year, they were the only developers that made any effort to come and make a presentation to the local chapter, and it spoke to their commitment to this local community.
In 1998, Commissioner of Dread, Rob Thompson, came to my store and said to me, if you're not in favor of leasing, you might want to put a for sale sign in your door right now because we're going to be closing Sunapee in 2 years. The state of New Hampshire was no longer going to fund the operations of Mount Sunapee. I just imagine what the impact would have been on every business in this area.
I regard Mount Sunapee as the economic engine of this area. Without a vibrant and thriving Mount Sunapee Resort, our local economy would suffer.
When our YCN News Special continues, we will hear whether there really are economic benefits to Mount Sunapee Resort and who they impact. Please stay with us on YCN, your local view. Welcome back to this YCN News Special, looking at the 5-year Master Development Plan of Mount Sunapee Resort Ski Area and Adventure Park and its proposed expansion into the West Bowl. We will now hear some thoughts on the economic benefits associated with Mount Sunapee Resort.
It's clear that different people were being told different things as far as the buffer zone and limitations on usage of anything more than the ski area, because for the court findings, the Mullers and group were told one thing, and it was certainly represented in public as there being a buffer zone in all the maps I had seen, and it was something I cared a lot about then too, and went to the meetings and saw the information. But again, there were private conversations, and we all weren't being told the same thing.
We've been consistent in our belief that the boundaries as drawn were not what was represented back in 1998 during the discussions before the lease agreement was signed, and we're very pleased that the court has agreed with that and found in our favor.
Well, I think it's important to get the big picture when it comes to the future of Mount Sunapee, and one of the best places to see the big picture and the big view is from the Goshen Ocean Dam here in Goshen, because if you look, it puts on display both the area in question for development and also the bigger picture, which is the largest roadless area south of the White Mountains. So we're right on the edge of where Mount Sunapee State Park meets the private lands owned by the Okemo folks, very close to where the real estate development would be. You can see over here the edge of the province area ski trails. In the middle here is land that, until the ruling by Judge Smuckler, was excluded from the lease and created a buffer area between the existing ski area and any potential development. And then right here you have the Monadnock-Sunapee Greenway hiking trail that goes 50 miles around the region, but also has a trail up to the summit that cuts right through the middle of the expansion zone.
We're actually been longtime guests here of Mount Sunapee. In fact, since 1974, we've been guests of the mountains here. Recently voted the best adaptive ski program in the country, 2013-2014 season. None of that is possible without the commitment that the Millers, and Sunapee staff actually make to our organization.
I just wanted to support this plan because I've been bringing veterans here as a ski program since it was state-run. All I've ever seen of Mr. Gamble and the mountain is to support veterans at discounted tickets and make them feel welcome and help them heal.
As a mountain employee for the past 3 years, is that I felt like day one coming to this company, they welcomed me with open arms into their Mount Sunapee family, and I felt very appreciated, very accommodated, and it's one of the best employers I've worked for. They're actually helping me work 40 hours a week, pay for school, pay for housing, and work towards completing an engineering degree at this point. So I wanted to at least voice my opinion that this is a fantastic company to work for and a huge economic benefit to this area. Thank you.
We own and operate a bed and breakfast in Sunapee Harbor. The mountain is a tremendous lodging partner. They are our #1 source of winter bookings. And with the opening of the Adventure Park, it's quickly becoming a significant source of summer business. Our B&B guests love the family friendliness of Mount Sunapee.
People look at economic opportunity, and over the last 16 years, I know, and Mr. McConnell, Frank, that runs Skinner's, is my neighbor. He's about the only business that I've really seen continue on over these years. There are businesses for lease up and down the region. You know, Newport really hasn't seen any growth. You know, we used to see a lot of people when it was a state park would come before and after weekends in our stores and shop. You know, but the Mullers do run a resort, and the design is to be more enclosed, which means to capture as many dollars as you can and not let them out into the community as far as the retail sector goes.
And I think if anybody goes and visits Ludlow, you will see that it is not a place to grow a middle-class family. It's not an easy place to live because it's very expensive and there's a lot of low-wage jobs. So that resort economy argument is one that, you know, is really important to us.
But preserving what's unique about Mount Sunapee and enhancing Mount Sunapee has always been at the top of our planning process.
Then, as we all know, the Mullers were awarded the lease and operating agreement in 1996. Since then, the clientele has increased, as has the winter and summer recreation experience. From my perspective as a resident, these increases have improved the economic situation of the surrounding communities by providing indirect support of local businesses.
It's a comprehensive master plan of lifts, trails, base facilities, parking facilities, infrastructure utilities to support the operating facilities, and there may be a potential to also provide accommodations for guests.
We don't even know what the West Bowl development is. Yes, everybody that loves to ski, yes, that's the proposal, is ski areas. But well, what else is going to be there? And there needs to be a commitment as to how much, where the residential is going to be, to what extent, how that's going to affect things.
They'll be later on mentioned at a public forum. The Mullers were very upset, hence they litigated 5 times to move the line because they made a bad real estate development. I'm not into bailing out any more businesses. Why? Remember, if this expansion is not linked to condos, that backside development will not happen.
The other issue that I think is very important is transparency. I heard today that there are no plans for building on the other land, but Jay, as you know, you told me that was the intention when I served in the legislature, that you purchased the property for the potential for expansion. While the Mullers were snow farmers, you were a business and that would be the way to make the money.
If Mount Sunapee's management team has an approach to development, it could match a philosopher's. To thine own self be true. Still, not all are convinced, especially regarding real estate development on the mountain's west side, and regarding development through a public-private partnership. When we come back, we'll conclude with a few poignant closing remarks by speakers on both sides of the issue. Please stay with us on YCN. Welcome back to this YCN News Special looking at the 5-year Master Development Plan of Mount Sunapee Resort Ski Area and Adventure Park and its proposed expansion into the West Bowl. Let's now hear some defining remarks at the State of New Hampshire's public hearing.
Now I take Jay at his word that they don't have plans for real estate development now. But I think the state of New Hampshire, before it allows any approval of this master development plan, needs to answer that question, and it needs to answer it clearly. What's clear today is who owns the dirt. What is also clear to us is that the dirt owned by the public carries special obligations and responsibilities that state government must exercise on behalf of all of us. Thank you.
Mount Sunapee is unique. It's kind of close to Boston, and it's got major contiguous wilderness off to the west. There isn't a major condominium mess that you drive past when you get here or even close by, and I think that that may be the draw, and I'm not sure why they want to mess with that. Will the Master Development Plan disavow any real estate development associated with the West Bowl expansion? I don't know. I think that's why they're doing it.
And I just basically have one question, and that question is, was the Mount Sunapee Resort sold in 2008 to CNL Lifestyle Properties?
The state is the owner of the resort. CNL, our relationship with CNL is really, they are the primary leaseholder. We sold them our interests, and we leased it back from them. So we're a sublessee. It's a financing arrangement. They are the primary leaseholder. We lease from them, and so we are the operators of the mountain.
Okay, with that in mind, I'd just like to offer a few facts about CNL, and this actually comes from their website. CNL Financial Group, formerly CNL Commercial Net Lease, is a leading private investment management firm providing global real estate and alternative investment opportunities. We are committed to delivering a broad array of quality product choices and offer an exceptional platform of alternative investment solutions. CNL Properties owns the nation's largest portfolio of ski resorts. CNL's real estate investment trusts own many major resorts and hotels such as Mount Washington Hotels. Most of the properties are leased back to operators under triple net leases, with the operators responsible for day-to-day operations of the properties. CNL invests in and manages commercial real estates and invests in private companies. The company's divisions include CNL Commercial Real Estate, CNL Securities Corporation, CNL Lifestyle Properties, CNL Growth Properties, etc., etc. CNL and or its affiliates have formed or acquired companies with more than $29 billion in assets. These are all non-traded equity investments. Mount Sunapee is an investment opportunity, a small part of a larger portfolio that are bought and sold depending on risk factors.
I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the old chestnuts that I've heard many years back, and every time we get together and go through this, some of the things that come up, and then try to focus on those facts on which you folks have to focus to make your decisions. Running the ski area is a high-risk business. Many go under because they fail to keep up with the technology or to improve infrastructure, or they're unable to supply what is demanded. And that last point is the important one. Is Mount Sunapee keeping up with the demand? Ski on a weekend or a holiday, and the signs of reaching capacity are evident. Long lines, crowded trails, too many skiers concentrated on some of those trails. Even the proposed very minimal expansion is necessary for the mountain to improve the experience and therefore keep up with the demands of the customers. Some might say, so what? This was an old chestnut. The issue is not so much the need for more ski terrain. It is that the use of public lands for private property is just plain wrong. To which I would answer, why? Public-private partnerships have a long and successful history. It is a way to cost-effectively provide the public with quality services and facilities. The history of Mount Sunapee Resort's growth and reputation testifies to that fact, as does the history of our national parks.
We hope this YCN News Special has helped you understand the issues involved in the proposed West Bowl expansion. Written or emailed comments regarding it will be accepted until the end of the month. Send your comments online to Mount Sunapee comments@dred.nh.gov or by U.S. mail to Jeffrey Rose, Commissioner, Department of Resources and Economic Development. Mount Sunapee Public Comments, P.O. Box 1856, Concord, NH 03302-1856. Thank you for watching this YCN News Special. I'm Rose Spillman. Join us again tomorrow at this same time for our regular daily YCN News. Good night.